Hats.
Brendo, how are you, man?
I'm still good.
I just screw up. We're going to do that again. We're just about to have a guest on.
Yep.
But just before that, I just wanted to do a quick show for something else that's nothing to do with us, but I think it deserves the show. So somebody reached out to ask if we could have Jeremy from ABIB.
Can we say who? Jen the farmer. I just did. Hi,
Jen the farmer. Thanks for reaching out, Jen. Appreciate it.
So ABIB is the Australian Bitcoin industry body.
Mm-hmm.
They're running a petition.
Yes.
Explain.
Okay, so I'll just read the petition reason, and then all the details are going to be below. So, the Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, holds almost no real money on Australian soil. Australia's foreign currency reserves comprise 87.5 billion as of March 23, 88% of which are unbacked, i.e. fiat currency. Excuse me. Less than 8% of the RBA's foreign exchange holdings are in gold, 99.9% of which are stored in the Bank of England, not even in Australia.
The gold is?
Yeah, the actual gold.
Yeah, right.
And I'll get to another thing very quickly. As supply of fiat currency is unlimited, its purchasing power will decrease until it has no value. This can be observed throughout history and what does that word say? Intuited.
Yep.
Is that how you say that? Through logic. Bitcoin, an open source software protocol launched in 2009, is the securest form of money in existence. It has a capped and known supply, making it superior to gold. And it's native to the internet, enabling global transactions of any size. Bitcoin is the only truly decentralized cryptocurrency and will not be captured by the actions of a nation state. It is the only cryptocurrency that can serve as global money. The sovereign nation of El Salvador has recognized Bitcoin's enormous potential and adopted it as legal tender. The Bank of International Settlements endorses banks holding up to 2% of assets in cryptocurrency. Nations slowest to adopt Bitcoin will be hurt the most because Bitcoin's fixed and known supply will cause its price in fiat terms to dramatically increase as demand for it rises. Petition request. We therefore ask the House to legislate that the RBA must hold 2% of foreign currency reserves in Bitcoin in self-custody. That's the petition. We're not asking... I'm not saying either way. I just want people to be aware of it. I think it's a good idea. I have my reservations with ABIB. Nothing to do with the guys.
We can talk about that.
We're going to have Jeremy on at a different point. We'll have a discussion about that.
Yep.
But we did want people to be aware of the petition. The petition is closing. The closing date for signatures is the 12th of July. So you've got 2 weeks, guys. If that's something, if you think the RBA should be holding 2% of foreign currency reserves in Bitcoin, there is a petition there for you to support that. And I strongly recommend that you do. But we'll have Jeremy on a longer discussion later on. But I would point them to Dale's pod.
Yes.
With Jeremy, which was just released in the last couple of days.
Yep.
What's that called, Brendo?
The Why Bitcoin Show.
Thank you. And with Dale Warburton. I just listened to it today. It was good.
It is good.
It's really good. So if you want more on the story, that will tell you the whole story. But yeah.
Okay.
Now we'll go to the guest.
Okay.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
Hats.
Brendo, how are you, man?
I'm well. Where are we?
Oh, we're freezing again. We're back in my house.
It's not even cold. Back to the garage.
Yeah.
Actually, did you say garage or garage?
Garage.
Garage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even
Garage.
worse.
I don't like the servo thing either. I can never get used to that.
Servo? What do you call it?
Garage.
Oh. Bloody hell.
Petrol station if I'm being really posh. But
Yeah. So anyway, back in the garage, back to normal.
Well, your wife got home, immediately kicked us both out of the house.
Yeah, well, to be honest,
habits?
I think I'm already in the doghouse.
What'd you do?
I was smoked in a car.
Oh.
And she smelt it. So yeah. I might be crashing here tonight.
Okay. I'll make you up a bed.
Yeah.
We have a guest.
We do. You introduce the guest because you've had the correspondence.
Okay. So Dominic. Dom. How
G'day.
are you, man?
Good, thank you.
So you reached out on Nostr to tell us about a project. The project is called, I think, 88 Sats. and it's a golf related project. So we were immediately the ears pricked up, right?
Yeah.
We play, but we don't call ourselves golfers. But it's just,
you are. I'm not.
Yeah, tell your friends. But and we've had a bit of back and forward, and we decided it's a good idea to have this chat, and we'll get into what the back and forward is about as well. But could you firstly sort of introduce yourself, where you're based, and give us just a headline what the project is and why you're involved?
Yeah, no problem. So my name's Don. I'm just a humble pleb from down in Victoria. Live about 2 hours east of Melbourne in the Streslecky Ranges. Lone coiner, really, until now. So, I'm pretty recent to Bitcoin. I've only sort of been in since April 2022, and have pretty much kept it to myself for the most part. Been on this journey all on my lonesome. And I've been off social media for years, probably 8 years or so. I got off of Facebook, and I've never been on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. I thought it was a bit better for my mental health to be away from all of that. And then through Bitcoin, everyone kept talking about this Nostr thing. It was coming up in every bloody podcast, and looked into it, ummed and ahed about whether I should get involved in social media again, and decided to have a go. So I'm not very good at social mediaing, but within about 2 days of being on there, I stumbled across a project of a guy out of Canada called 88 Sats. Guy's name's Jaw, and he runs with his brother Reggie a golf company, just a little bespoke golf company in Canada, in Manitoba. And they make head covers, custom leather head covers, and apparel and that sort of stuff for golf. And they had this project called 88 Sats, which they want to get a whole heap of people together, teach them about Bitcoin, and pull together resources to hopefully hodl and one day have enough sats to buy their own golf course. So they've put it out. They've got 88 shareholders. So the buy-in was 888,888 sats. So whatever time you get in, that's how much in fiat value it costs you. Mm-hmm. When I stumbled across it, I think they were into the high 70s. They got people on board. So I jumped online, watched a couple of videos that he had on YouTube, and a couple of red flags sort of popped up, which we'll probably get into a bit later.
Yep.
And then had some extra stuff on there, monthly meetings. So I watched those monthly meetings, thought, shit, these blokes are actually fair income here. So sent him a message and said, I'd love to be involved. And he replied and said, mate, you realise we're in North America. You realise this course, if we ever buy one, is going to be in North America. And I just said to him, I said, mate, if this works out, that's the least of my worries. Like, I'll just buy a house on the golf course, no worries. So, so jumped on board, and he sort of used my story a little bit on his podcast. I didn't go on it, but he mentioned my story and that I jumped on board from across the Pacific, and the last sort of 10 spots got snapped up straight away. I think there's a lot of people sitting on the fence, umming and ahhing whether to get into it. So, and the beauty of it is there's only about 8 blokes that have ever had any exposure to Bitcoin. So there's about 80 others that are complete newbies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that weren't Bitcoiners before this. Wow.
So they have had to buy. They've had to buy Bitcoin to contribute the 88888, or is that what's happened? Or okay.
Yeah, he was adamant he wouldn't accept fiat. He would help people out.
That's good.
Teach them, get them set up with wallets. Joe does quite a few tutorials and stuff online on his YouTube channel. He's got everyone set up, and hopefully down the track end up with a golf course and end up with 88 maxis.
I mean, I've got 1,000 questions.
Yeah, before we go down the golf route, I'd just like to ask, how in the fuck did you find Bitcoin without social media? Like, what was your entry point?
Yeah, so I suppose people talk about doing your proof of work and stuff like that. I've sort of done proof of work in other ways in the lead up. So I was sort of primed, I suppose. I know keto / carnivore was a big thing in the Bitcoin community. I'd gone down that rabbit hole years ago. Regenerative agriculture, that sort of stuff, gone down those rabbit holes. So I was sort of primed, but I had multiple touch points like everyone has, and just never grasped it, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, I was working overseas in 2012, and I remember hearing about it, didn't give it a second thought, and then lots of little touch points throughout the years, people talking about it at work, and I just thought, I'm smarter than you guys. You guys are all going to get wrecked here, and then it just wouldn't die. So with the pandemic and everything that's sort of gone on, I probably got a little bit black-pilled, I suppose. I was a little bit nihilistic after everything that had gone on, and I listened to a podcast called Trigonometry, and I've been listening to it for years. So Konstantin Kisin and Fraser Foster, a couple of comedians out of the UK, and in April last year they had Saifedean Ammous on.
Oh wow!
Okay.
The title was "Money and Crypto for Dummies." And I listened to that, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was expecting to listen to it and think this is just a scam. I'm going to stay away from it. But having someone actually explain what money is and the way that he explained it in that episode just really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And to their detriment, I haven't listened to their podcast since, because I've been listening to 30 plus hours of podcasts a week on Bitcoin content. Yeah.
Including ours, obviously. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, well, only recently found you boys, but I'm glad I have. So
do go on.
Okay, no. We're too much. Like, Saifedean is an absolute master of explaining something in a way that it's just logical. It might be complicated, but it's still logical. You can listen and you can go, oh, I don't fully understand what that guy's talking about, but I know that he's right. That kind of feeling. And I think if you listen to anything like that on any topic, really, and somebody who's as good a
I get that with Sailor sometimes as well.
Yes,
like he's got
better
amazing analogies.
Yes,
some of the best. But
you're like, I couldn't fully. Sorry, please go on. Dom.
That's all right. I was just going to say, I think there was a line in that podcast where he said, "I'm not going to tell you how the car works. I'm going to tell you what the car does." And that's the way he explained Bitcoin. He didn't get too technical, but really laid out the fundamentals of it. And it really, really clicked with me.
So you then started looking or seeking out additional Bitcoin related content, and then eventually bought some for yourself, and then you've just been purely self-taught. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, pretty much. So I listened to that podcast, and by the time when I got to work, I bought the Bitcoin standard and the fiat standard straight away and sort of read those, which is a bit of a rite of passage. But yeah, just a lot of podcasts. A little bit of everything, to be honest. Listen to a bit of the Bitcoin, blue collar Bitcoin boys as well, which is a good little segue, because I know Dan's a keen golfer on that. So, and through listening to that, learned about Daz B, and the work he's doing with Looking Glass Education. And it was actually Daz that I reached out to on Nostr after one of his podcasts where he was talking about his home mining setup. I'm doing some renovations here, and I was flirting with the idea, so I reached out to him and sort of asked if he had any worksheets or some guidance on home mining, and he teed up a call, and I got talking to him and got talking about this little project, and he said, you should hit up 2-Bit Idiots. They're into their golf. So I'm like, who the
There
hell
you go. Okay, we didn't know that. We didn't know that side of it.
we love our dads here. Well, I do anyway.
Yeah.
That's why I'm growing the beard, just so I can feel closer to Daz. Love you, Daz.
Daz's a top bloke, and he works incredibly hard as well.
He does,
and he's smart as shit. He talks that down, but he's smart as shit as well. He reads like an absolute beast. But he's practical too. So he's able to talk, electricity that most of us can't do, right? Do you mind talking at all about your what you do in Fiat world for work, or just generally? Like,
yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I work in healthcare and in cancer care.
Okay.
So yeah, radiation therapist. So yeah, a lot of experience talking with people, talking with older people. I've always been the person at the 21st birthday or the 30th that's in the corner talking to some old bloke about his prostate. So no issues talking to older people.
You're going to fit in perfectly at a bush bash.
Yeah. Hey, Bill.
Yeah. So.
Okay, cool. But that's okay. But that's not obvious. Like, I wouldn't like that. Wouldn't that's slightly unusual. I'd say.
What, that he's a radiation therapist?
No, just that it mostly tends to be finance or engineering type minded people, I think, and that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Like, I mean, it's obviously there's all sorts, but maybe the rural thing. Okay, I'm just trying to plot.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. So I've never really thought twice about money. To be honest, I'm pretty useless with money as it goes. But yeah, I mean, country boy, born and bred in Gippsland down here. Trained in the city in Melbourne and worked overseas. Travelled around a bit. Worked in Switzerland for a year. UK for 2 years, and then Tassie, and then Brisbane for a little bit as well, or Toowoomba, and then home to roost. So I've been back here for 7 years.
Yeah, nice. So
and loving it.
Do you find it hard not to talk about Bitcoin to all these oldies?
Look, I've sort of worked my way up into more of a, as much as I hate it, middle management role. So I'm sort of tucked away. So I don't have that much exposure with the public. I do love getting out on the tools, to be honest, but I try not to talk about Bitcoin too much. Well, I'm just not used to speaking about it, to be honest. I've got a Bitcoin mug, and if it's on a Friday, we can wear whatever we want. So I might rock me Satoshi t-shirt and get a few quizzical questions, but people are oblivious mostly.
Have you ever met anybody in your world that is like you're wearing your Satoshi t-shirt and somebody gets excited, or has that never happened yet?
It's happened once. Yeah, I was at the local pub after we won a cricket flag, and on Mad Monday I was at the pub, and the young girl behind the till complimented my shirt, but I was a bit too pissed to have a conversation, to be honest. But I haven't seen her back at the pub since, so they are around.
Okay, that's kind of cool as well. And so okay, so let's segue to the golf, right? So you're a golfer, right? I'm guessing you've always been a golfer, or what's the story there?
Yeah, always been a golfer, social golfer. Never really taken it too seriously. I mean, I grew up playing cricket and footy, like most rural kids. Had a year off when I had a falling out with my coach back when I was 16 at footy, and went and played golf for a winter. But other than that, I just love getting out and having a hit.
Who was in the wrong? You or the coach?
Probably me, to be honest.
There's the trait, right? There's the trait. I've found it already.
Disagreeable, yeah. So I've never taken it too seriously, but I love getting out with golf. I'm always thinking about playing more golf, but never actually really doing it, to be honest. So, so my probably where golf really clicked for me a little bit was when I was living overseas. I was living in Switzerland, and my wife and I she was my fiance at the time. She was living in the UK and I was living in Switzerland, and had a lot of time apart, a lot of time to read books and things. I don't know whether you boys are both golfers, are you, or is it just hats?
Oh no, like I like golf. I love going out, but I'm just shit. So you can't call me a golfer. I'm a hack, I suppose. What would you call someone like me?
No, I don't think you're as bad as you think you
know
are.
How I know you're lying? Because your voice got really hot.
No.
Okay.
Well, what we've done in the last 2 times, I've given you a shot a hole, and you've beaten me both times. So, and I'm not a great standard either, but
it doesn't mean I'm good.
You're
anyway, whatever.
You're not as bad as you think you are.
I love it. I do love golf.
It's
and that's my Bitcoin retirement dream, is just to play golf.
But it's hugely time intensive golf, right? You need 5 hours. So it's great when you're a young guy because you've got tons of hours and you just go and play golf for 2 rounds a day. And then when you get to this age, you're like, when can I get 5 hours? It's difficult, right?
So there was a book that I read when I was in Switzerland that really sort of triggered it for me. I don't know whether you're familiar. The book's called Golf in the Kingdom by a guy called Michael Murphy. It's got a cult status, really. It's a bit of an odd book. Like half of it's about airy-fairy sort of yoga, very spiritual sort of stuff. I think it was written back in the 70s.
Yeah, you've lost me already.
But the other half is just about golf and about the spiritual side of golf and the mental side of golf. And that book probably got me at the right time in my life, and very low time preference. So there's a quote in the book that I think is apt. It says you're making a great mistake if you think the game is meant for the shots. The game is meant for walking. For if you can enjoy the walking, you can probably enjoy the other times in your life when you're in between, and that's most of the time, wouldn't you say? And that really resonated with me.
That's pretty good.
A lot of time, like I'd always be looking forward to every 2 weeks. My wife and I'd fly. She'd fly from London to say Barcelona, and I'd fly from Zurich to Barcelona, and then we'd have 2 weeks apart again. And that sort of mentality of the time between shots and learning to enjoy that time really stuck with me. And I think it should hold me in good stead for Bitcoin, hopefully, with the bull and the bear markets, and learning to enjoy the time between. So I suppose if you zoom out like that, Bitcoin's just one big game of golf, to be honest. Just a bloody long time between shots.
So you were April 22, is that what you said?
Correct, yeah.
And when did we peak? 21, November 21-ish.
You tell me, I don't. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think that was it. Yeah, so you were kind of coming in on quite a downtrend there.
I was oblivious to Bitcoin in 2021. Didn't really register. Someone said to me, I should buy some Bitcoin, and I told them, I'll stick with real things. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And now I realize it's probably the most real thing there is in the world.
Yeah.
I caught the knife as it came down. Thought I'll put a bit of study into this before I buy anything, and the more you learn, the more you get itchy fingers and want to get involved. So I've just been stacking away. So I haven't done the maths, but I must be up now, I think.
But you're a regular. Yeah, I don't care how much you have, man. How much you stack it's none of my business. But like, you're just a regular DCA guy. Is that what you do?
Pretty much.
That's incredible to get to that point. Just so like a year
and by himself.
By your absolutely. I mean, I don't mean that in a patronizing way. Like, it took me such a long time to work out that I wasn't cleverer than that.
I wouldn't be there.
But it also shows you that the messaging that's coming out from Bitcoiners now, I think, is better.
Yes,
and there's more of it. There's coming from
different
angles, and people can come in at different sides now and still find a good, solid, sound message.
Just a trove of information.
There is, but that also means there's a whole load of shitcoin stuff to wade through too. There's more of that as well. But if you managed to, did you avoid that completely, or sorry, I missed that?
Shitcoin for a week.
Yeah,
about 5% in shitcoins for about a week, and then I was watching some videos, and I'm like, this is bullshit. So sold those off pretty quick, smart, and I've just been Bitcoin only. But it came pretty thick and fast. I built a node within 3 weeks and had a node up and running, and playing around with lightning and all that sort of stuff. So
you're technically minded, or you're following like a Catan or a Ben, or what are you doing? Like, what's happened there?
Good old BTC sessions and those sort of guys. Yeah, I'm not not technically minded. Like I've had to run a few things on command line when the node's gone down, and that's way out there. I think I'm a bloody nuclear engineer.
It feels good though, doesn't it? You feel good.
It does, yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of nights up till midnight thinking I bricked me node, but managed to bring it back.
Yes.
Well done. Well done. We go golf?
Yeah, we better go golf. Sorry.
All right, so
you keep trying to.
Yeah, no, sorry, no, it's good. That's great. That's really interesting. It's amazing the speed as well. So the golf thing, you came across this project where some guys have got together. They wanted to buy a golf course, but the way they're going to do that is they're going to take investment from 88 people of 888,808 sats and hold it for how long? Like, what are they saying? And what's the ambition? Have they thought that through?
Yeah, so it's fairly loose, and they say on his first video he said sort of hold it for 5 to 10 years, but I think Joe realizes that it's more like 10 to 15 years, depending on how much you grow.
I disagree, but go on.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends how you grow the fund as well. Obviously,
yeah,
growing the fund at the front end has bigger benefits than growing it down the track. Yeah, so my bullshit meter is usually pretty strong, and I think Joe knows that I treat everyone as a scammer until they prove me otherwise. So he's not anonymous. He's out there. He's got his own golf company. He's got a network. Most of the people in this 88 he knows firsthand, or a lot of them, a big percentage of them. So the trust model is, from my perspective, you can't get rid of trust completely in relationships. So I've had to go out on a bit of a limb. I think he would admit he probably has run with his ideas, and there's still a bit to process within the group of the 88. So it's still working through the legal side of things and setting up the corporation or however that they want to do it, and also the way that the funds are held as well. And he said it's the last thing he thinks of before he goes to sleep, and it's the first thing he thinks of in the morning is getting it right. How you custody that in a multi-sig, who are your multi-sig participants, who's holding the keys. So
yeah,
it'll be a scammer until we've got that golf course. That's the way I look at it.
But that's cool that you're going into it with your eyes wide open in that sense. Like it is, you do realize what you're taking a punt. I mean, there's nothing to stop anybody, taking some chunk of Bitcoin, putting it in a cold storage wallet and leaving themselves and waiting to buy their own golf course, right? That's perfectly possible too. When you first sent us the information, we Brendo and I sat down, we watched one of the presentations, and we were like, "Oh, this is amazing, this is amazing." And then there was two things that hit us like a ton of bricks. One was what was it? What was it say? There was the blockchain. There was words that the blockchain was still to be decided, and that there were NFTs to be issued. And we just went, "Oh, hang on a second, right? What's happening here?" So we came back with that to you. And what you said to us, you came back with an amazing response, which was like, which basically was, that is exact same red flag pinged for me as well. So it's been what I'm trying to get to. It's been a process. The guys that aren't 100% certain how it was going to go themselves, and they're working, and it's moving. What the impression I get is towards a more maximalist, golfing idea, right? Is that fair? Is that what you see?
Yeah, that's right. And I think Joe would admit he's on the journey as well, and he's 100% Bitcoin now, but he's not one of these people, I think, that likes to cover up his tracks about what he's done. Going back through his videos, there has in the past been a little bit of shitcoinery, and he admits that, and he admits he's 100% all Bitcoin, and going forward, the constitution of this thing is 100% Bitcoin. The NFT and the blockchain thing did raise big flags for me at the start, and I've spoken to Joe about this, and I think all he was looking at was coming up with some digital bag tag. You know, the bag tag you get when you join a golf club. They give you the tag that goes on your bag to signify that you're in the club. They were looking at having some sort of digital version of a bag tag to signify that you were within it. They weren't looking at selling it to anyone. He's realised that it doesn't align with the project, and that there'll be never anything that's not Bitcoin only involved in this. So.
And I guess, to be fair, that video or the link that you sent was an older.
Yeah, it was. I think it probably was a bit older, and then
12 months or something.
Yes,
it was a while back.
Also, if you're saying that like 90% of the people involved are new to Bitcoin, like, it's totally understandable that somebody could not get this, right?
Yeah.
And not understand the things that were important, but you just have to have people within the project who have a good understanding, who can help steer people in the right direction.
Exactly.
The thing that is the most interesting thing to me here is not necessarily the project. I'm a golfer, love it, and I'd love to own part of a golf course. That sounds great, right? But the most interesting thing is you're going to have 88 blokes, women, whoever it is involved, who are golfers, have got this shared interest, but they've also found this shared interest in Bitcoin, and it's going to create a community, right? And it's going to, like, over a long period of time. None of you are getting into this thinking you're buying a golf course tomorrow. So how is that developed? Have you just been speaking to this one person, or are there other people involved? Are there meetings? How does that work?
Yeah, so they use Discord quite a bit, the app. So there's a Discord group for the 88 founders. So everyone's invited onto that, and pretty much all of us have gone on there and give a bit of an introduction about what we do for work. They're really trying to foster sort of circular economies. If people need something, go to the group sort of first. And from my perspective, I mean, I'm a bit of an outsider because, I think there's 82 or 83 from Canada, 5 from the US, and then there's me. So
yeah. What do they think of you? Like, are you some oddball?
Yeah,
what do they think of you?
I'm the oddball, but it's been good because I think Jaw sees me as I'm a part of the group, but he sees me as someone to bounce ideas off, as more of a Bitcoin maxi sort of personality. So he'll send me drafts of stuff he's going to send out to the group, and I'll give him my feedback and I think this works, and this works a bit better if you word it like this. And so yeah, it's been good. It's been really good to be that outsider looking at it. I mean, it's going to be awesome to have contacts with these guys, and down the track, like, even if the course doesn't happen, having touch points if we want to go on a family trip to Canada, got people to stay with, people to play golf with. It's just awesome. So they've got the 88 original guys that have bought into it, which will have sort of ownership rights and voting rights on how it works. But then they've got a secondary tier, which is part of their golf company, their golf brand, and that's to get other people involved, not at the ownership level, but get them involved in the network as well. And that they're organising golf tournaments over there. We've got a thing called the 88 Tour. So through an app called Squabbit, which I'd never heard of before, you can just load your golf course in. Everyone chucks in, I think it's 8,000 sats, and during the week you play your round and you put your score in, and at the end of the week, whoever comes out on top gets some sats, and the rest of a portion of the sats goes off into the Bitcoin fund. So I've got a weekly golf tournament. I mean, I don't play every week, but I've got a weekly golf tournament with blokes from North America. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah.
I mean, have you considered if there's a potential for doing something closer to home yourself, or like what's your thought?
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, really interested. Like, I think it's got a lot of potential. Firstly, to get people into Bitcoin, to learn about it, and then the payoff at the other end is huge. I'm just a simple bloke that's done the one job for most of his life, so I'm still trying to build my own confidence about what I can and can't do. I don't know whether I'd go to the extreme of wanting to buy a golf course, but even things like getting a fund together with a bunch of mates that want to go on golf trips to Scotland or Ireland or Japan or something in a few years' time, getting people to look a bit further down the track, lower their time preference a little bit. Something like that would really interest me as well, even if you could get 10 or 20 blokes together to kick in some sats and build a community that way.
That's it. Well, if you can find a way to multi-sig and store your coins that everybody's comfortable with. I mean, I'll give you an example. My dad's in his 70s, and he I think has gone on a golf trip with the boys from school every year since they left school. Right. So what is that, like 50 odd years, 50, 60 years nearly. Yeah. Which is incredible. I love that. I know all the guys, they've come around my house when I was a boy, on their way to their golf trip. I thought it was brilliant, right?
Are they all still alive?
I don't know if they're all still alive. Some of them aren't so mobile around the golf course anymore. My dad and a few of the other ones are actually still doing pretty well, but the golf's not so good. But yeah, they've been doing it for years, and they go all over the place. Like, it started very local, and then they've traveled internationally. But I'm just thinking, like, if you took something like this and a group of people it didn't have to be golf, but if you have a shared hobby, to then just have this pool of sats that they sit somewhere, and it just sits as your surfing trip, as your holiday to France, as your mum's 50th birthday. Like, it's just a savings account, right? But it's a savings account with with an upside that's just so massive that it could transform people's lives. And in the meantime, it builds community around about whatever the thing is that you're into, right?
Exactly. And I mean, that's probably one thing I'm really keen to do, is to get outside my current circles a bit. And that's sort of why I joined Nostr and sort of reached out to you boys as well. Like, I organise a golf trip every year down to the Mornington Peninsula, and this year I offered the boys 20% off the cost of the trip if they paid in Bitcoin.
No way.
Not a response.
Nobody.
Not a response. Not interested. Not interested.
Is that because they're Bitcoiners and they're tight asses, or they're just not? They got no idea.
Got no idea. And and I don't want to push it on people. Like, as I said before, like, as Bitcoin was running up in 2021, I was oblivious. I'm sure there was a lot of people talking about it, and I'm just completely oblivious. So I do believe.
Is your thinking there that you're trying to stack some KYC stats, or are you just so desperate to get people involved in Bitcoin that you're just happy to take the hit you personally? What's happening?
Bit of both, are you?
Look, there's definitely self-incentives there. I was trying to get some non-KYC sats, but just trying to get a few boys involved. I mean, you bring up the question of the golf trip every year, and it's like pulling teeth. People are like, I don't know if I can afford it this year. The people's mortgages are getting rolled over, so they're really quite stressed. They can't think ahead beyond the sort of immediate 12 months. So I just was keen to take one for the team. It would have paid off in the long run, but not interested at all. So if I can get out there a little bit and try and get a few guys that are into their golf but also into Bitcoin and try and build it that way, look, I'm sure FOMO's real. People will jump on board when they
we know a few Bitcoin maxis that are keen golfers. You got to get yourself to a bush bash, mate.
Well, I'm just thinking, right? This is exactly what I was thinking, right? So what Brendo and I have done the last couple of years, so we've been to MirbooHodl and I, the one in New South Wales, right? There is now one in Beechworth in Victoria.
Yep.
And
Cairns now.
Cairns now
at the end of July
in Queensland.
Yeah.
There's something in Adelaide, was there not? I don't know. Is that formally called?
WA. I think they were.
Is that formally calling itself
a bit of a splinter group?
Yes, yeah. Love it. But anyway, so we've not been any further than New South Wales. One would love to go. There's one in Cairns is coming up very shortly. Encourage anybody up there to go to that. But for the last couple of years, on the way down to the one that we've been going to, the day before we've just gone for a game of golf. Now I'm thinking, if there's 7 guys that are going along to the Bush Bash that want to go along to Bush Bash, but would happily take an extra day go for a hit beforehand, and then you could make it it could become something super fun.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. It could be any of them. Could be all of them.
And I'm slowly dropping the hints to the missus about the Cairns Bush Bash. So doing all I can to try and sneak up there for that one.
It's a lot warmer up there this time of year.
Yeah. Is she a Bitcoiner? Is she convinced or just letting you do your thing?
She's just letting me do my thing at the moment. And she trusts in that I'm doing the work. But she often will remind me that if I fuck this up, you're working for the rest of your life. And I'm aware of that too. So, but no, she's been supportive. I mean, she's the only person I've really spoken to it about. And in speaking about it, usually she's doing stuff around the house while I'm blabbering on about Bitcoin, and I can tell she's not really listening to me. So.
But I bet you're just following her wherever she goes. And
Pretty
another
much,
thing,
trying to explain what mining does and all this sort of stuff.
So
she's cool.
How, and is that just theoretically, really? I mean, just from listening to podcasts, you've got that understanding. Or is this we're talking about your conversation with Daz, or practically have you set up a miner and you're going off the back of, I don't know, a windmill in Victoria? What's happening there? Like, is it all theoretical?
No, it's just sort of brain farts, really, just thinking about how it could work and all this sort of stuff. So, long way from setting up a home miner. Like, I've done the maths on the economics. It's not really going to pay off in the immediate term, but yeah. So probably something hosted elsewhere might be the intermediate step. But it fascinates me. I mean, when I first got into it, I mean, I want to get away from checking the price, but I'm a human. I check the price, see what it's doing. But I check mempool space more than I check the price these days.
Yeah.
See what the blocks are doing.
Like, were we 216 blocks to clear or something like that?
Yeah. Was that right?
Let's have a look. I'll have a look.
Awkward pause.
As we wait for my terrible internet to kick in. Why is that not working? Nothing wrong with Mempo. It's my phone, or my 191 blocks to clear. But we're getting through 11 sats. So I mean, I don't know whether we'll get back to 1 by the end of the year, but we're getting through at a reasonable level now.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I mean, that's probably the next part of the rabbit hole I'll branch off down and learn about a bit more in depth. Yeah.
And how was it when you had that first conversation with Daz? When was he the first face-to-face Bitcoin guy you?
Yeah, the poor bastard. He was great. I mean, I had some questions about the mining setup and that, but he could probably tell I just wanted to talk about Bitcoin, and he humoured me and asked me about my origin story, and he was genuinely interested. So, it was good to have him as number one.
You've done well.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like if I give any advice to lone coiners out there, it's get out there. I've got to get out there more and talk to people. You drive yourself insane. As I said to Beck before I came on tonight, I said it all sounds great in my head, but I don't know how it's going to go talking to other people. It's always different when you got to explain yourself.
We had the same thing at the Mara, first Mara that we went to. It's almost like when you first turn up at year 7 in high school and you're like really scared and you're like, oh, is anyone going to like me? But like immediately, like 5 minutes in, you're just like, hey, this is the best.
It's like a conversation you couldn't have up until that point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Then you're like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. And
I've talked at people while I'm pissed at the pub, but I've never had anyone reciprocate a Bitcoin conversation.
What is it going to take at the pub for that conversation to be? Is it just going to, like you saying before, like people are, the golfing guys, they're all of a sudden going, my mortgage bill's gone up, I don't know if I can go on a trip. Is it going to be just pain, do you think, for the most people, the majority of people, before they finally just go, hang on, maybe there's something wrong here? Or like, is that what it's going to take?
Yeah, I think the pain, I think obviously hype cycles won't hurt, so another big bull run won't hurt, and having people there to prod people as the hype's happening. But I think probably trying to get, I mean, Bitcoin's not just about sort of merchant adoption, but just trying to get it a bit more visible in places as well. So I wouldn't mind trying to get my local cricket club set up so you can take lightning payments for beers and that sort of stuff. Just having the Bitcoin accepted here sticker and that sort of stuff gets people talking about it. And I think it's a massively untapped potential for sporting clubs to get Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Like I know a local cricket club, they might sit with 20 grand in the bank account pretty much all the time, and if you can unleash some potential of that into Bitcoin, do wonderful things for a sporting club.
Just everything, man. Like I read recently that our local town has you maybe know better than me, like 400 or 500 million in the bank. Like wow.
What does that mean? Our local town has it?
Like the council has.
Oh, council.
Yeah, has a chunk, like $500 million in the bank.
Oh, no, I don't think it's that much, but yeah, maybe
we'll check it out. But even let's call it 100 million, right? It was more going to be. It's definitely more than that. But even if they just put 0.5%, the upside and the good that would do to a town is just unbelievable. And across everything, like a little business, a sports club, personally a Scottish football fan where there's two big teams in my league and everybody else isn't really anything. If a little team was to do it, it would change the whole face of the sport. It's just what Perth Heat are doing over with the baseball is just phenomenal. It's just, I love this that's going off in different directions and you can't possibly contain it. You can't stay on top of it. You don't know we spoke to a hairdresser a couple of weeks ago who's just orange pilling it's brilliant, right? And you just don't know.
Yeah, I love that show. That's right.
That's things that you don't know. Yeah.
But that whole grassroots thing, that's where it's really happening.
Totally. Like I couldn't give a shit that BlackRock might have an ETF.
No.
I couldn't give a shit.
It's just
it might be
by
something
one
for the price. I want to see a little local hairdresser somewhere or a golf trip do it and just go nuts and have a great life.
And as Don was saying, it's touch points. So BTC Essex, talks about Bitcoin to Joe Flo Joe doing the hair, and then a week later she's somewhere else, and there's someone else that talks about it. So it's like, well, hang on, there's something to this.
Yeah, and you can't control that, right? So
it's unstoppable.
So like I have that pinned tweet, right? How quickly we could come on we couldn't have been a Bitcoin standard in 33 days if we all committed to orange pill and two people, right? 33 days, that's mental.
Yeah.
But and I quite often will get people coming back to me and saying, oh yeah, but like that assumes that you can orange pill somebody in a day, and champ, it does. But yeah, I know. But also, you don't know who the person that's going to orange pill Bukele, right? You don't know who that's going to be. You don't know who's going to orange pill Michael Saylor. You don't know who's going to whoever the next thing is. And if you just happen to be the person who orange pills one person, and that person becomes the next Saylor or whoever it might be, like that impact is so massive.
Yeah.
People can't comprehend how quickly this could actually all happen.
Yeah.
And we just all need to do our bit. Right? It doesn't matter what it is.
It's sort of infuriating, but you just got to go with it. Like, people know there's something wrong. People can sense it. I love the bleed into your show talking about you've sensed it for your whole life. Like,
yeah.
It's true, right?
Sense it. My parents can sense it. They're always talking about inflation, and I'll tell them, it's the money. The money's broken, and try and drop little hints, and they feel something's wrong, but just trying to get people to take the olive branch is difficult. And I try not to push it on people, especially with my close family. I'm like, anyone who's got any Bitcoin has got enough if it all goes to plan. So I'm not worried about my immediate family.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get a few more people on board.
I don't actually. You get to the point where you're like, okay, if need be, like, I'm the guy who's stacking for them, right?
That's right.
But it's not about that. It's not about the money. It's about the taking your family on the journey along with you, and them seeing them changing. You said before you have this sort of black pill moment, and you're living in this sort of nihilistic world because you can see the problem, you've no idea what the solution is, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, there's a little bit of hope. I'm going to chase that as far as I can chase it, and you're never gonna catch up, and it just makes your life better and better and better.
Well, it's like someone who, a friend or a loved one that has mental health issues or is depressed or something, and you want to show them that it gets better and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. All that kind of, I mean, it sounds romantic.
No, it's true.
And I think that's a big motivation for why Bitcoiners want to orange pill other Bitcoiners.
Well, do you not remember Justin? Justin, who was previously with Hardblock, and then he was, I think he's working with a Bitcoin company now. But
he is, yeah.
So, but Justin, is a mental health professional.
Yep.
And what his point, and which still sticks in me now, is like mental health problems are in the majority being caused by people who are living in a way that doesn't fit with their internal belief system. They're doing something they don't really believe in, and it's driving them into a really horrible place. And all of a sudden, if you can think, oh my God, if I just do what's best for me here, that's going to help everybody else as well. Holy shit, I'm going to try hard at that. Like, I think the best damn Bitcoiners in the world right now, and I all credit to all the people who are doing it as a business, but the best damn Bitcoiners in the world right now are doing 40-hour weeks and then coming home and starting work. Right? Because they know their real work is the Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I mean, I often think, shit, if this goes to the moon, I'll quit my job, but I know that I'm never going to stop working. Like, I know that I'll always be doing something. It's one of those things you want to show your kids as well work ethic, so when they grow up they're working hard, not just getting handouts. So yeah, the mind can boggle a bit when you think about where it can go and the time it can give you back. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be sitting on a beach all the time.
Do you see the like the problems and solutions in your professional life? Like, are you starting to go, oh, well, I see how that could help this at work? Or like, you're working on something that's important, right? You know, you help.
Yeah. Look, I'm allergic to bureaucracy. It really does my head in, and you see so much of it, especially in public health, like the wastage, the absolute wastage of funds, and the inefficiencies in the system that the Bitcoin standard down the track could fix. And they say Bitcoin fixes this. I really think it would help healthcare. I'm sure you're aware of things like crowd health in the US. That's it's an alternative to health insurance. Like, it's just changing incentives for people.
Yep.
I think that's something Bitcoin really does well. It really aligns the incentives, but it is a completely, they say you upgrade your operating system when you're on Bitcoin. It's a whole different way of looking at the world, and it can be frustrating because you walk around and you're looking at everything in your day-to-day life, and you're saying, oh, that's fiat, that's fiat.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, you just got to be.
I mean, sorry, Brendo said you sent me that text today, right?
What?
I mean, I don't want to dox you completely, but you're like, you know, it's just
with your what did I say? I'm so over this shit.
I'm just so over this shit. I just see everywhere where it's the same as you're just, you know.
Yeah, I work for local government, mate.
And once you see it, you can't not see it.
But I don't think I've talked to anyone that works for local government, public health, some other, government type establishment that doesn't agree that there is massive wastage and red tape and overly bureaucratic nonsense, but it just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
it's just the mentality of people that are working in the profession as well. You sort of had all of your creativity and innovation just hammered out of you.
Yeah.
And I really try with my staff to really get them thinking. Don't worry about the policies, use your brain. But it's tough. People just want to revert to, what do I do? Tell me what to do. I'll do it.
Because they're afraid, right? Yeah. Ultimately, they're afraid. They're afraid of, doing the wrong thing, being sued, not being able to pay their mortgage, whatever. They're afraid, right? And that's okay.
Perfect.
It's right to be afraid.
Perfect example. So we've started doing these little sausage sizzles, like barbecue things, because we have I work in a library, so we have believe it or not, an increasing homelessness, right, in our area. and people aren't eating. They're coming into a library for a safe space, a place to just nap even. So we started just running the odd little sausage sizzle to try to target them. And we're totally I'm probably fully doxing this. No one's listening. We're doing this entirely under the radar, right? Because we know if we mention it to, you know, the powers that be, have to be a risk assessment,
health and safety,
health and safety, all this ridiculous stuff to cook a fucking sausage for a homeless guy.
Yeah, it sucks. It's just
it's the same. Like I'm pretty happy with the stuff I've done at my work. I've got some really high tech, state of the art treatments out to the country, but it's a battle. It's a massive mental battle. Feel like you're going to war every day to try and push things forward, where the easy option is just to shut up and take it. So
right, let's go positive.
Let's not end it.
Have you ever had a hole in one? Ever? Have you ever had one?
What's that? Sorry.
Have you ever had a hole in one?
No hole in ones. No.
Have you ever seen a hole in one?
No.
No, same. I was talking that today. Oh, there goes my positive.
Never seen one.
I've never seen one. I played golf my whole life and never seen a hole in one.
I played golf when I was 20, and a schoolmate of mine came off beaming because he just got a hole in one.
But you never saw it.
Never saw it.
I don't believe
that's as close.
Was he by himself?
No, there's a few behind him, like looking like, oh, Pete. Anyway,
it's funny. You see YouTube videos of good golfers that are going to just hit golf balls on a par 3 till they hit a hole in one.
Yeah,
and they're there for days.
Yeah, they'll take ages and ages and ages. Okay, what else? I'm trying to go positive. What is going to get your wife over the line to take you up to Cairns?
Good question. Probably you boys harassing.
Yeah, I was going to say, us going.
Oh yeah. Us probably not going. It's probably going to get it's awesome. I would thoroughly recommend it. I'm not being the Cairns one, but it will be great. I'm very jealous.
And Dazzle, I'm sure, will be playing some music.
Oh well, that might push her back.
I should have gone. I should have gone to the Beechworth one. I only found out about that one literally the weekend it was happening. So, aiming to get up there. We'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, definitely need to talk to more Bitcoiners.
Fuck yeah,
definitely, mate. Well, next time there is one, and next time we're the same one, I would like to play golf the day before. If you're keen, we shall play, and we'll pull in Pete Dunworth, Gaz Larking. Who else plays golf?
Andy.
Yeah, there's plenty. There'll be others. There'll be others coming.
Daz would have a bit of a hit, wouldn't he?
I don't know. We'll ask him.
He's pretty tall.
Yeah, true.
Probably awkward, like a basketballer. Looks weird. Love you, Daz.
That's awesome.
All right, Tom.
Mate, if you want to, do you want to connect with people, or do you want to connect with people elsewhere, like on Nostr? Do you want us to put the details for your if you want to get in touch with you, or
for sure.
Would it be Nostr or where else?
Yeah, Nostr. That's all I got. So, GreatGrandMan on Nostr.
Perfect.
You can grab me there. I'm not the most social media savvy bloke, but reach out if you want to talk golf or Bitcoin.
There's definitely going to be people reaching out there. There's a solid Bitcoin community in Melbourne. I know Melbourne's taken a bit of a kicking over the last couple of years from particularly the Bitcoiners, but there's some real solid good Bitcoiners down there too. So
just avoid Bodog.
I'm thinking that the meetup down there, the monthly meetup at the pub in Collingwood might have to get on board that.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right, mate.
Mate, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thanks for telling us about the project, and good luck with it. One day I'll hope to play a round on the golf course.
Oh, as guests of a member.
Yeah, guests of a member, yeah.
See you, mate.
Cheers, Dom.